turn to page 28, and we will rise for the Baruch. Yai la 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 la. Lie, la 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 lie. Lie, la 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 la. Lie, la 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 lie. Lie, la 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 la. Lie, la 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 la. Baruch et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Hamevorach Le'olam Va'ed Hamevorach Hamevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. Pardon? We're live. Welcome to the Temple Shalom Studios. Okay, we're going to go to page 30. In the middle of the page, we'll read this together. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We turn to page 32, and we'll sing Ahavat Olam together. Ahavat Olam. Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta, Amcha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al kain Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbenu uvkumenu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei toratcha u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nege yomam balayla, nege yomam balayla, ve'ahavatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Ohev amo Yisrael. We turn to page 34, where we rise again as the ark is opened, and we recite we'll sing the watchword of our faith. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod kevod malchuto leolam va'ed. Baruch Shem kevod malchuto leolam va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Please be seated. And page 36, where we will sing the V'ahavta, and this time you won't get commentary on it as you did last week. Well, thank you. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha vedibarta bam beshiftecha beveitecha uvlechtecha vaderech uveshachbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam Al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem mi eretz Mitzrayim Leot lachem Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem. Now we'll Adonai Elohechem emet. Now we'll go to page 39. We'll go to the top of the page. Read responsively. I'll do the first and last paragraph. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. We're going to turn to page 40, and we'll sing the Micha Mocha together, using one of the oldest melodies I ever liked. Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha Ne'edar ba'kodesh Nora tehilot Ose fele Malchutecha ra'u vanecha Bokei yam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Ze'eli anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Actually, that's not originally a Reform melody, which surprised me when I found that out, because I originally heard it at the old Brit Shalom. We will go to page 43, and let's read from the top together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkot shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We're going to turn to page 44. Where I have been talked into. I normally do Vishamru, and the reason is I never knew that melody until I came here. The other one I grew up with, but we had a request, and so we're going to do Yismechu. Make sure I know the chords. Yismechu b'malechutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Mekadashei, Mekadashei Shavi Shabbat, Kulam Yisbeu, V'yidangu V'echad Shabbat, Yismechu B'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei oneg Shabbat, Yismechu b'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. V'shvi'i ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat, chemdad yamim, oto karata Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Zecher lema'aseh, Lema'aseh Bereshit Shabbat, Zecher Lema'aseh Bereshit Shabbat, Yismechu b'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat, Yismechu b'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Thank you, Lisa, for bringing the tambourines so I could hear Sheila's spirit in here. That used to be my excuse that I didn't want to do it if Sheila wasn't here. Okay. We're going to turn to page 46, and for the Amidah, or the Tefillah as it's called in here, Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Adi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel. Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen. Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechayed HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia. Mashiv HaRuach Umorid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofeh Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Mikamocha Baal Gevurot, Umidom Melach, Melech Meimit, Umechaye, Umatzliach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Hata L'chayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol. Atah Kadosh, V'shimcha Kadosh, U'kadoshim B'kol Yom Yalucha Selah. Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. We'll go to page 55 at the top of the page. We will read this together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise, Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. On page 57, we'll read together the English at the top of the page. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch Atah Adonai, Shodcha levadcha b'yarav na'avod. Turn to page 58. Again, I will do like I've been doing. I'll do the Hebrew at the top, and then you'll read the English right after it, and then we'll say the prayer at the bottom together. Nodelechon saperti latecha ve'al chayenu hamsurim biyadecha ve'al nishmotenu hapkudot lach ve'al nisecha shebechol yom imanu ve'al niflotecha v'tovatecha shebechol eik erev v'boker v'tzoraim hatov ki lo chalu rachamecha havrachem ki lo tamu chasadecha me'olam kivinu lach. Baruch Atah Adonai, Hatov Shimcha Ulecha Na'el Hodot. I may have mentioned this. I'll bow at add two prayers that we normally don't do, and because those were considered linchpin prayers at the time, and I was taught to do that. And you know, when you're 8 years old, a lot of stuff sticks with you. Now, we're going to go to page 60. Yes, I can remember that, but I can't remember what I ate yesterday. On page 60, we're going to sing together Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ve'tov ve'enecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael. V'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. We're going to do the silent prayer at this point, and then I'll rudely interrupt you after a couple of minutes, and we'll go into Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Now we're going to turn to page 253. where we will recite the blessing to wish improved health and well-being, not just for the people whose names I'm going to read right now, but then after that, I will extend my hand and you add any names that you feel should have been on the list. Lev Diekerman, Teresa Todd, Leela Wilson, Paul Tackett, Eric Gershkovitz, Al Unger, Beth Haberman, Franz Skall, Robin Unger, Alvin Kassan, Glenn Fasnacht, John Gage, David Rosenberg, Leonard Glazier, the hostages who are being held in Gaza, the family of the hostages who are worried, sick about their loved ones, those who are recovering from wounds inflicted during the terror attack in Israel on October 7th, and I will add those who have faced physical harm from anti-Semitic activities in general, whether it's college campuses here or just elsewhere in the world. Together on page 253, Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mikor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Tonight's parsha is called Shemot, which both is the name of the book that in English we call Exodus, and it means names or the names. In this case, it refers to the sons of Jacob, the names of the sons. This is in a nutshell, this is where Joseph dies, and the rest of the patriarch's sons die. What's interesting is that Joseph was actually the first to pass away at age 110, and one of his older brothers made it to 137. There was a new Pharaoh, we think, because there's some who take the idea that it was the same Pharaoh, he just had a change of heart. But the new Pharaoh who, quote unquote, knew not of Joseph. That's why I have problems accepting that it was the same Pharaoh. That's just me. And basically, this is where they become enslaved. By the way, there was an island in the Nile where Jews lived, and they were actually the warriors class. This is something that I found interesting, that the Jews were actually became more or less the Navy SEALs of the Egyptian armed forces, but they also became quite numerous, and the Pharaoh was afraid, so they were enslaved. Of course, we know the story of Moses. That's where it comes in, where he's born, and he's put in at 3 months old, some sort of like a little floating crib or something, because at that time Pharaoh had decreed that all firstborn male children had to be killed, or all male children actually had to be killed, because it was foreseen that there was one who would arise and liberate the Hebrews and bring some grief to Egypt. And he was raised, he became, by the princess, the daughter of the Pharaoh. But he never forgot where he came from, because his nursemaid was his mother. And he became rather high-ranking as he was a prince of the household. He caught an Egyptian abusing a Hebrew slave, and he beat the Egyptian to death, actually, is what it was. And then he had to run when he found out that the Pharaoh had found out. And the reason he learned about it was the next day he tried to break up a fight between two Hebrew slaves. And one of them says, "Who are you to tell us you killed a man yesterday?" So he fled, where he met Jethro, not Bodine, and rescued his daughters from other shepherds who wouldn't let them water their flocks. And he ended up marrying one of them, and then he gets called by God, and he goes in front of Pharaoh to demand that the people be set free. He was a reluctant leader. And that's what was interesting about the Parsha. This interpretation is one of the more interesting ones, and I'll say more interesting, and I'm probably understating it. I have never come across an interpretation like this in my life. Moses was considered the greatest of the prophets, was that when God asked him to lead the Jewish people, he refused 4 times. "Who am I to lead? They will not believe in me. I'm not a man of words. Please send someone else." It's as if Moses knew with uncanny precision what he would be getting himself into. He somehow sensed in advance it may be hard to be a Jew, but to be a leader of Jews is almost impossible. Sound familiar? Okay. How did Moses know this when he tried to break up that fight between 2 Hebrew slaves? And they said, "Who appointed you as our leader and judge? And who are you to tell us what we can do considering what you did?" Now, Moses hadn't even thought of being a leader, and already his leadership was being challenged. And these are the first recorded words spoken to Moses by a fellow Jew. That was his reward for saving the life of an Israelite the day before. Sounds like the old saying, "There's no good deed that goes unpunished." Now, and although God persuaded or ordered Moses to lead, it was difficult for him and often demoralizing. Moses was faced with over 40 years spent leading a group of people who were prone to criticize their situations, sin and rebel, and argue amongst themselves. Sounds familiar as heck to me. Okay. In In an amazing show of ingratitude, the Israelites complained several times in the book of Shemot after witnessing miraculous acts from God and his appointed leader. At Marah, they complained that the water is bitter. Then in more aggressive terms, they protested the lack of food. If only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. There we sat around pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted. But you have brought us out into this desert to starve this entire assembly to death. Later at Rephidim, they grumbled at the absence of water, prompting Moses to say to God, "What am I to do with these people? They're almost ready to stone me." Sounds like shul politics to me. Okay, now, in Devarim, Moses recalls the time when he said to God, "How can I myself bear your problems, your burdens and your disputes all by myself?" And then Beha'alotecha, Moses suffers what some people consider have been an emotional breakdown. This was said by the greatest leader in Jewish history. "Why have you brought this trouble on your servant? What have I done to displease you? You put the burden of all these people on me. Did I conceive all these people? Did I give them birth? Why do you tell me to carry them in my arms as a nurse carries an infant to the land you promised on oath to their ancestors? I cannot carry all these people by myself. The burden is too heavy for me. If this is how you're going to treat me, please go ahead and kill me. If I have found favor in your eyes, do not let me face my own ruin." Sounds like a shul president to me. Okay, and this leads to the question, why can we be so difficult? Okay? The answer was given by the greatest rebel against Moses' leadership, Korach. They came as a group to oppose Moses and Aaron and said to them, "You have gone too far. The whole community is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is with them. Why then do you set yourselves above the Lord assembly?" Well, Korach had ulterior motives. He wanted to be the leader. And what is basically saying, Jews are a nation of strong individuals, and we've had that history. The whole community is holy, every one of them. They always were, they still are. That is their strength and their weakness. There were times when they found it difficult to serve God, but certainly would not serve anyone less. So our ancestors were the stiff-necked people, and people with stiff necks find it hard to bow down. The prophets would not bow down to kings. Mordecai would not bow down to Haman. The Maccabees would not bow down to the Greeks. Their successors would not bow down to the Romans. Jews are fiercely individualistic. At times, this makes them unconquerable. It also makes them almost ungovernable, almost impossible to lead. That's an interesting way of describing us. There's some other things in here, but I think I've covered enough ground here. It's an interesting thing that a rabbi came up with this as an interpretation of this parsha and what it means up to this day and age. And that's what I was looking for, something to relate to this day and age. Had this come from a non-Jew, it would probably be considered anti-Semitic. And as a matter of fact, I know it would be. But, you know, there's a kernel of truth in everything. And the only thing that I will add that's my own words is that it would be nice if we remembered that when we're dealing with each other in these I don't know if I'm going to say exciting, but the change that's coming upon this congregation, and it's only going to work if we do it together. And that, to me, is the lesson. And yes, that was from Rabbi Sachs. So you know I'm not going to take credit for something, but that wasn't mine. But I thought this was brilliant. Okay, now we've got the announcements. And I'm going to give you a different voice to listen to so that you don't get, well, you're probably tired of mine anyway.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat services begin tomorrow morning at 10:30. MLK Shabbat, a single garment of destiny, Friday, January 12th at 7 p.m., featuring guests Bishop David Stephen Kelsey and the choir of Spirit-Filled New Life Church at 8 p.m. with an oneg and discussion afterwards. The Men's Club breakfast meeting is Sunday, January 14th at 9 a.m. Guest speaker will be Temple Shalom member Kerry Kaplan. He will make a presentation about understanding alcoholism. Breakfast buffet served for a donation of $5 per person, and RSVP either to John Saletto or to Mark Epstein by Friday, January 12th. A meeting is scheduled for all congregants who are interested in ritual on Sunday, January 14th at 2 p.m. Is that here, Karen? Okay. The agenda will include a review and discussion of ritual in general, as well as a review and discussion of the recent High Holy Days and the beginning of planning for next year's High Holy Days. All of these will be impacted by our plans to move to the JCC. Those who wish to participate should contact Kieran O'Connell by email. Then Exile, Music of the Early Modern Jewish Diaspora is on Saturday, January 20th at 7 p.m. at Comstock Hall, the music school at U of L. On January 26th, guest speaker Tony McAleer will be here at Temple Shalom at 7 p.m. I think 6 p.m. was in the newsletter, but I think it's now 7 p.m. And his subject will be The Cure for Hate, Interfaith Understanding. The Cure for Hate traces former neo-Nazi and Holocaust denier Tony McAleer's journey of atonement to bear witness to the horrors of Auschwitz and examine the through line to modern-day violent extremism. The film serves as a powerful argument for radical compassion in the face of division. Join us for a screening of the film and post-screening conversation with Tony McAleer, director Peter Hutchison, and local faith leaders. And then on January 28th, join us at Temple Shalom for the Tu B'Shvat Seder. It's on a Sunday, 12:45 p.m. Rabbi Chotner will lead a participatory Seder using a Tu B'Shvat Haggadah. Benji Burlow will lead us in song, and we will drink 4 cups of wine and grape juice and eat a variety of fruits, dried and fresh, and nuts, no peanuts. And thanks to Aviv for being our song leader. Thanks to Rich for streaming services tonight.
And thank you to Linda for being our Bema guest, for Kelly and Lisa for leading us in the blessing over the candles. Okay, you've been sitting long enough. It's time to stand up, and we're going to do the Aleinu on page 282. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention to you guys, because a lot of people are bowing in the wrong places. When the term comes, anachnu korim, it means we bend the knee. Umishtachavim means we bow. Just a little point that I thought would be useful. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, lateit b'dula l'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'goraleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Noteh Shamayim ve'yosed haaretz, Umoshav Yikaro b'shamayim mimal, Ushchinatu zo, Begave meromim, Hu Eloheinu ein od, Emet malkeinu efes ulato, Kakatuv betorato, Viadata hayom vehashevota el levavecha, Ki Adonai hua Elohim, Bashamayim mimal, Ve'al haaretz, mitachat einod, Ve'nemar, V'haya Adonai, Lemelech al kol haaretz, Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad, Ushemo echad. Please be seated. We're going to turn to page 293, and in the middle of the page, our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. As I read the names, if you are here in observance, you are welcome to stand, and then all of us will stand and recite the Kaddish together on page 294. Active records from members: Helen Bergman, mother of Anna Bergman; Velma B. Cohen, mother of Cindy Phelps; Gloria Fader, mother of David Fader; Ilya Gelstein, father of Bronislava Nelson; Eve Hertzfeld, mother of Susan Glazer, grandmother of Catherine Hurt, great-grandmother of Riley Hurt, great-grandmother of Audrey Hurt; Betty Levinson, sister of Joyce Wolfe; Adolph Price, grandfather of Ruth Honigberg; Pete Rennick, father of Nancy Rennick; Sam Rosenthal, father of A.W. Rosenthal; Carolyn Siegel, mother of Eric Siegel, grandmother of Nora Siegel. And then the records of those with plaques and no observers: Nettie Galanter, Moses Master, Emmanuel J. Newman, Alex Schlesinger. Please, everyone, rise as a congregation we recite the Kaddish in solidarity with all our kindred folk. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, bi'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam le'olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamayim, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'omromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Please be seated. We'll do this for one more week on page 341 at the bottom of the page. It'll probably be 6 months before I can bring myself to do Bim Bam again. Lo yisa goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Shabbat shalom.